Hey guys, this is Jay from Faith Evolved. Decided I wanted to do as my second video, or really my first video for my new channel. I wanted to do a video response to Holy Koolaid, Thomas Westbrook, and his, basically he does a bunch of videos trying to question pretty much everything, especially when it comes to spiritual people and religious people and just different, basically trying to debunk different things, that people, have been preaching and talking about for centuries, just questioning everything, and looking at some of his channel, some of his, videos here, crazy pastors speaking in tongues and, how to get over your fear of hell. I've done that actually. Psychics, he had a vision of God. I watched that video. That was interesting. And honestly, I think he actually did have a vision of God, but that's neither here nor there. We could debate that, but, he grew up in the church. So, he dealt with all the hypocrisy and, people having their beliefs, shoving it down your throat and expecting you to conform and, saying, oh, just have faith, or just trust God, don't question anything, blind faith, and he just was that guy who would just keep asking questions. I was kind of that guy too. I had a crisis of faith myself. I gave up the belief in hell. I don't believe the Bible is the inerrant word of God anymore. I still consider myself a Christian because I believe in Jesus and what he did, but, I have a vastly different belief system than I used to have before. A very liberating belief system. And I think there's two ways you can go with things when you have a crisis of faith. You can either decide, there's not enough evidence, not enough scientific evidence out there to prove God's existence, and so until further notice, I am an atheist. Or you could say, there's just too much evidence that there's a God, and we're a bunch of crazy humans trying to figure this all out, over our evolutionary history. You see primitive man and how they tried to, understand the universe and how understand the world around them, and they attributed anything they didn't understand to God or the devil or the spirit realm, when it was just some kind of scientific explanation for it. So there's two ways you can come to that crossroad. You can say, I still believe in God, and I actually used to have a radio show called We Still Believe. So despite all the craziness, despite all the inconsistencies and lies and and just confusion, really, that you still look at creation. You look at the DNA code, which is called code, and it takes a programmer to create code. Anyway, it takes an intelligent mind to create an intelligent mind. But anyways, it's honestly, I like to use this analogy of the blind person. Think of a blind person that grew up from birth, being blind, never seeing a day in their life. And you try to talk to them about seeing, what sighted people see. There's a guy named Tommy Edison, I think is his name. A brilliant and funny guy. He does a bunch of videos on being blind and what it's like to be blind and what can he see, what can't he see, how does he live his life being blind and everything. It's just fascinating watching a blind guy. And I think in some weird way, this blind guy to me is actually increases my faith that there's a God and that there's a spiritual realm, because this guy has no frame of reference. He cannot see visually. He's completely blind, 100% blind. He can't even see the light. Doesn't know what light is. Has no frame of reference to explain depth perception and colors and brightness, and he doesn't know what darkness is because you have to have both to really know the difference. So he just doesn't see. So to him, there is no such thing as seeing. What you're looking at right now doesn't exist in his universe. Yet everybody around him is saying, yes, we can see. I could take this ball and throw it. The other person can see me and catch it, and I can see this drawing in front of me. It's beautiful. I can see my friend. I can see my wife, husband, whatever. So this guy has no idea what anybody's talking about. But he doesn't question whether people can see. He knows people can see because of the fact that he can't see and he can't function as well as everybody else can function. So that to me makes me think to myself, you know, how can we be so sure that the definition we've come up with, the scientific method, considers all the facts? You know? Like, for example, compare this blind guy to a sighted person and then juxtapose that of a person who, you know, a 3D human being living on planet Earth versus a multidimensional spiritual celestial being, whatever you want to call them. You know, like, how do we know? You know, we're a baby civilization. We're not even a one on the Kardashev scale, you know? And you can get up to a galactic type 3 civilization. Like, we don't know anything. We were freaking, you know, Neanderthals only a few 100,000 years ago, whatever it was, you know? I mean, we're still advancing. We just invented the computer in the past decade. I mean, a century. So, I mean, how do we know there's no different realm? What maybe we call now, you know, the spiritual realm. What if that's the, you know, a fourth or fifth dimension or sixth dimension, or some people say there's 11 dimensions or more dimensions, infinite parallel universes and multiverses, and, you know, all this stuff that, you know, scientists are now talking about. They don't really have any proof of it. They have hypotheses and they have some theories, you know, dark matter and, you know, and dark energy and all this stuff that they're just now kind of trying to figure out. String theory, you know, Higgs boson, the God particle. They're all trying to. We haven't discovered it. So how do we know that there's no God, or a source consciousness that fragments himself into each one of us? You know. So we don't know. I mean, some of us do. I mean, I've never had a crazy spiritual vision before. I've had a couple answered prayers that to me, you know, made sense to me and nobody else around me, you know. But, you know, think of it this way, you know. Think of a 1,000 years from now, or maybe 10,000 years from now, you know. Maybe millions of years even, we have the power to create our own universes, you know, our own, you know, galaxies or whatever, you know. I think isn't it the first directive in Star Trek where you don't try to get involved with a civilization, you know, you don't try to mess with their evolution. I mean, think of a highly advanced society or highly advanced civilization, you know, that has cured disease and, you know, world harmony and just, you know, we work 2 hours a day or something. You know, it's like we got a pretty dang good society, and it's got to take a lot of work to get to that point, and we're all gonna have to work together to get to that point. So, you know, if you think about that, what kind of society would that be that was able to advance to a point where that society could create its own life, you know, or its own universe? That's the society is probably going to be benevolent, you know. Is probably going to be, you know, wanting to see these new creatures grow on their own and give them free will. You know, how much would you intervene with that civilization? How much would you try to, you know, impart your will on it, you know? When you have this understanding that free will is best, and free thought and just, you know, discovery and all this stuff, why would you try to take that away from them? I mean, obviously, I think you do jump in at some point and help if society needs it, and I do think that's where revelation comes in, but that's my personal belief. I can't push that upon anybody who's questioning that there's even a God or faith, but I do believe there's some revelations, and, you know, but, you know, how would you do that, you know? And second of all, you know, the reason why there's so much confusion is because there's people out there that have their own personal experience and try to, you know, basically project that onto all of humanity. Like your vision, you could say, you know, oh, if you believed it was true, Jesus is coming back soon, you better hurry up, time's running out, better start preaching and better start winning some souls, you know. You know, that what if that was real, you know? I hope Jesus is coming back. I believe he did come, you know, but, you know, I don't believe that if you don't believe in him personally, you're going to be damned to hell. I do believe you have to want, desire, have faith, or some people would call create your reality, you know, that you want to live eternally. If you decide you don't want to or don't believe that, then how could that happen? You know, in a universe where you create your reality and the law of attraction and all that stuff, you know. But, you know, you have to convince yourself. Nobody else can tell you. Like, you're only inside your brain. You can only feel your own emotions and comprehend your own thoughts. You can hear other people's, you know, you can hear what everything I'm blurting out now and what everybody else says, but it doesn't matter because you're not feeling it. The synapses in your brain aren't firing the same way as somebody else. So you have to come to your own conclusion. In the end, I think that's the answer to the question of faith is there is a God, and you come to God on your own. You strive to God on your own. Nobody else can lead you on that path. I mean, they can, but nobody else can make... You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. That kind of analogy, you know? I think everyone experiences God differently because... Or source, whatever you want to call them. Because we can only experience ourselves. We live inside our own heads, in a sense. And as much as you can get bonded to somebody else, in the end, you can only feel yourself. And I'm a person who has reactive attachment disorder, so I know what it's like to be stuck in my own head and my own feelings, and not feel anybody else. But at the same time, know there's a God. I mean, I'm an INTJ. I'm an IT nerd, okay? I love science. I mean, for all intents and purposes, I should be the hardcore atheist. But something in me just goes, who the hell am I to say there's no God? When this so complicated, you know, creation and a DNA code and a cell and just the design and mathematics. I mean, somebody had to create the rules of mathematics and physics. I mean, these just don't poof out of nowhere, you know? So I'd like to debate this guy, Thomas Westbrook from Holy Koolaid. I'd like to have a debate and discussion, really a healthy debate, not to push any religious ideas down your throat. But some of these ideas, you know, that you talk about, they resonate with, you know, they're compatible. I think some people think that religion, or let's just say faith, is the opposite of science, but I think science and faith work together to bring you to, you know, belief in, you know, the fact that you're a part of God, really, you know, not that you are a God, but that we're all a part of God, you know, and you know, it's everything goes back to a source. So, anyways, thanks for watching. I'd love to talk to you, Mr. Thomas, and have a good one.